Hello, everybody. This is your captain speaking. Rafael Chacín, as known as El Capitán Rafucho. So this week, crazy things had happened at the sports world. First, Damian Lillard goes to the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis. Then, for the first time in 52 years, the Texas Rangers are going to the World Series, and they actually won. And of course, this week is going to be that between Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles, but that's another story. And third, last but not least, this is gonna be like really amazing because it is a good day to be a Raider. Because first and foremost, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are fired, and it's not gonna be the Raider. It's not gonna be the Patriot way, and we're not gonna tank him for quarterback because it is the perfect time to get back to the old roots of Oakland, Los Angeles, and even get a part of the new parts of Las Vegas. And look at the t-shirt right now. Black Sunday Nation. Because I feel incredible to be a Raider fan. And of course, there are so many things that we can explain about it. And even I dressed up like Eric in some of the live streams, but it is the perfect day to be a Raider fan. Because right now, it's not going to be the Patriot way because Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are gone. And of course, we got our interim head coach, which is Antonio Pierce, and Sham Kelly as an interim general manager. But this is gonna be like really exciting. And for that reason, because I'm gonna take the glasses right now, because right now it is a double episode of Silver and Black Experience with your host El Capitan Rafucho. Because in this opportunity of the first one, we got a special episode. The first one, we gotta introduce the bag, and of course, yeah, sorry about that because we're gonna introduce some special guests to talking about the Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants. It is gonna be on Sunday, November 5th at 4:25 p.m. And right now, we got something backstage right now because this is gonna be really exciting because at the first episode of double episode of Civil and Black Experience, this is gonna be like really excited. And this guy is a Giants content creator. He knows it about the Giants, also for the baseball of New York, the basketball, and his content is so amazing. And we're gonna talk it about for the preview between Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants. So let's give it out for the round of applause for the one and only Big Blue in the Blondes. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Raf? Appreciate you having me on, and always looking forward to talk some football, especially this week. It's Giants Raiders out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. So first and foremost, we're talking about for the last game because you guys they just lost against for the New York Jets because it's like the battle between the New York City. And over the last live stream that I just got it for the two giant goofballs, are they're talking about between the New York sports, the rivalries between Yankees versus Mets. Also, they got Knicks versus Nets, and they got Giants versus Jets. But right now, it seems like the robbery is getting like a lot of culture tradition. But after the game right now, how does it get to to loss against the Giants? Because let's just recap about the historical robbery between Giants versus Jets before we move on to the preview between Giants versus Raiders, which is a totally battle between quarterbacks and running backs between Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's interesting about these two teams. Well, I'm sorry, the Giants used to play at Yankee Stadium. The Jets used to play at the Mets Stadium, which was called Shea Stadium, and obviously they're the two New York teams. Then the rivalry kind of started reimbursing itself. Um, when the Jets moved in with the Giants, when the Giants had Giant Stadium, and it was the Meadowlands for the Jets, and then MetLife Stadium was obviously built, and now we've been sharing a home with the New York Jets for was it 2010, 2011. And there's been some parts of the rivalry where it's been reignited a little bit. 2011 was a really big one when Rex Ryan was still the coach of the Jets. But like recently, it hasn't been, it hasn't been like at the top of the heat in terms of the rivalry, particularly because the teams haven't been good. But in the preseason, when our defensive end Jihad Ward went at it with Aaron Rodgers, we thought, oh, we're going to get this really good game in Week 8, and that ended up being two backup quarterbacks facing each other in a really bad offensive game. And obviously the Jets and Robert Saleh said, the king of New York, and if they feel that way, they feel that way. Obviously, there's so many other teams that play in New York and so many other sports that are so much better than the Jets. But at the end of the day, they beat the Giants. So I mean, they can feel happy. A win is a win.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, there's been like a historical rivalry between two giant teams when it comes to the history. But I think this is much important right now because the closest to the rivals for the New York sports, especially for the Giants, they have against for the Philadelphia Eagles, against Jets, and of course Dallas Cowboys. So this one is gonna look really important right now. And after we just talked about for the recap between Giants versus Jets, which is like a historical rivalry in New York sports. Right now, we're talking about the good stuff, which is Raiders versus Giants. And I know this is gonna be like a really excited about this, folks. And I know that I have to figure it out because this one is gonna complete blow your mind. All right, so there he goes. Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley, a battle of running backs that cannot miss it. I know, as a matter of fact, right now because we had Josh Jacobs, one of the past rushing leaders at the NFL, and of course they got Saquon Barkley. So this is kind of like a battle between intensity and of course the production as our running backs. And I know the Raiders got Josh Jacobs, which is totally amazing because we just saw for over the last year that the production was humongous. But right now, the biggest test right now is the Giants running back, which is Saquon Barkley, which is totally different than we kind of expected about it because it all depends for the production, the defense about it. So I just wanted to know about their thoughts. This is gonna be like a really exciting battle of running backs. Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley, and give your thoughts about it for that team.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the running backs go, I mean, yeah, they're two very good running backs in this league at the top of their tier. Both were, obviously on the brink of not being with their teams this year. Obviously, Saquon Barkley and the Giants had that 1 year little, $11 million deal, and then afterwards it was Josh Jacobs re-signing temporarily, of course, with the Raiders. Um, and it's going to be interesting this week because obviously, at least as your head coach put it and your organization put it, you guys are going to be starting Aiden O'Connell, who is the rookie, and I would predict that they do rely on the running game a lot. And I think that part is going to be a test for the Giants defense because they held up really well against Brees Hall last week against the Jets. That's the one thing I will say. The defense held up pretty well. And for the Giants, I mean, Saquon Barkley, he did say today that the high ankle sprain that he dealt with starting in week 2 is going to be lingering all season, but he's going to be playing with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how the production goes. Um, and I think at least statistically, I'm looking at it. The Raiders, defensively, they're not very good at stopping the run. So they're probably around where the Giants are in near that category. But it's going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, also as well because of the reunion. No Darren Waller this week for the Giants, so I think it's going to be um, battle the running backs, battle the offensive lines, battle the trenches, and not really much of a passing game.
Yeah, I know about that because we just see it like at a stab news right now because we just see like at a lot of production right here. So all right, so I'm gonna share the screen right now because this is gonna be like a really excited for the battle between the running backs, Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley. Now they gotta pay attention about it. So Saquon Barkley has 1,064 carriers for more than 4,000 yards and he scored 40 touchdowns in 75 games of his career. So he was initially a good start with the 2018 and then for the 2023 for the New York Giants, he had a much in production, so they got to explore it out about this. And I know this is a lot of the fat right now, but I think when it comes to production, I mean, this could happen like a lot of things could happen because it has to go through the choice if it's gonna be like a more touches and a more scoring opportunities. I mean, if they cannot agree about for the contract right now, but I'm very sure that it's gonna be like a tough decision. But Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, they have some great weapons, but they had to be careful about Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey. But if we want to see like a battle of running backs of Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, I mean, it's gonna be like the easy running back and the third option pass at a good offense because I know this Jacobs is behind Barkley and they're probably in a rankly, but I mean they have been struggling about for the offense line, the defense, and for us, for the Raiders, we're still struggling about the defense. But right now, without Josh Jacobs, without Josh McDaniels, without Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, right now we have to recover about the defense. But the point is, so right now, because we are going to the week against New York Giants, which they have to struggling about the defense, the offline, everything could happen like this one. So any thoughts on what can repair or about for the defense and the offline of those both teams, like the Giants and the Raiders?
Yeah, so when it comes to like side by side matchup, I'll start with the Giants offensive line against the Raiders defensive line. I mean, one player that everyone's looking at is a guy by the name of Max Crosby, who's probably looking to feast this week against whoever is starting at right tackle. We don't know if Evan Neal's going to play yet. We don't know if Andrew Thomas is going to play yet. But I'm looking at that matchup because Max Crosby is one of the top guys in this league. He has a great backup story behind him in terms of sobriety and all that. So I think that's one of the main matchups I'm looking at. But I think they could slow him down by running the football and maybe doing a couple of disguise type things. Daniel Jones is back this week, so that maybe will affect like who's in the pocket and how the Raiders want to get to the quarterback and whatnot. But as for the other side of the football, the Giants against the Raiders. Now I have to do a little bit more lookup on their O line, but to my knowledge, and I'm not saying is we're as good as that Chargers pass rush, but I believe it was the first time O'Connell started. He got sacked something like 8 times, six alone by Khalil Mack, and that's not always on the offensive line. There's some pocket maneuvering mistakes that O'Connell had, and they just kept striking him where it hurt. So I think maybe O'Connell improves in his pocket presence, but Kayvon Thibodeau has been really a rack the last few games. 3 sacks against the Jets. I think he had 1.5 against Washington. He's been the sack leader. If he gets enough sacks in this game, he'll get to 10, which hasn't happened under Wink Martindale yet. But I think for the rest of the Giants' defensive line, I would say Dexter Lawrence is a worry if you're looking at the Raiders' offensive line because he can dominate and has 2 sacks. 3 sacks in 2 games, I believe, if we look up the stats correctly. So he's got 3 sacks on the season. And even then, the quarterback pressures, the defense against the run. But one thing also as well, like a little vulnerability. And the Giants linebackers have been playing really well. But Leonard Williams just got dealt. And Leonard Williams I think the Giants are going to feel his presence lost, not only in the pass rush game, but also in the running game, too. So, we'll see the first real effects of that this week and maybe the Raiders could take advantage.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, we just see look at the comments right now. So we just see January Sports highlights say, "Hey, how's it going? Salute to you, Raider Band. What are those more important things?" So right now, that because we just had Jimmy Garoppolo, but Jimmy Garoppolo is right now bench, and right now we just had the starter quarterback as known as Aiden O'Connor. Now this is gonna be like an important test because we're gonna face against Daniel Jones, and I know there's gonna be a holding it back for the return for the practice right now because it might be it's gonna be like this is gonna be like very difficult for this future right now. And I know that after Tyrod Taylor had just played as a starter quarterback while he's injured right now, I mean, he just wants to be mentally on the field, and he just wanted to play. They want to prepare for the play, and he just wanted to see that way that in terms of the breaking adventures because physically they just went to the field to try some advantage for they go to a field right now. And it's gonna be like a return against Antonio Pierce Raiders. And the reality is currently understand it is impossible to ignore. I mean, Jones, it might be playing for the Giants' future, but thanks to the part of the circumstance, his ability to top competition and the business of the NFL requires honest evaluation of every position every year, not more important than the Raiders, than the quarterback. And aside from the struggles right now, that I mean, it's going to happen like the biggest task for everything could happen at this point. So Daniel Jones versus Aiden O'Connor, it should be like an interesting fun to watch because right now we have the starter quarterback, which is a rookie, and Daniel Jones has been like as a veteran for the Giants for over the last season. So that could be important right now. So tell tell about the thoughts of what possibility can Daniel Jones could be like a in an important match against Aiden O'Connor, which is a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Daniel Jones, I mean, I could scope out the entire offense and say that the offense has been garbage. I think that this is the worst offense I've seen since Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon just about 2 years ago. But specifically, I mean, the offense is I think they're the worst in the league, and a lot of people are out on Daniel Jones, particularly myself as well. But if there's any glimpse of hope for him, like being the Giants' future quarterback and all these different things, is he's got to win these next few games down the stretch, and he's got to beat good defenses. He only has 2 touchdowns on the year. That Seattle game was horrible. He didn't do much better against Miami. The Arizona game obviously was where his presence was felt. The 49er game was pretty, meh. So, if you're talking about Daniel Jones in this matchup, I personally wouldn't expect like too much. Um, because I mean the Raiders are not a very good run defense, but they're a very good pass defense. But if you're somebody who is, a Daniel Jones pessimist, you're looking for him. Hey, he's got to beat these defenses. He's got to beat these teams down the stretch. And personally, me coming into the season, I had the Giants winning against the Raiders because I think Josh McDaniels gave that coaching disadvantage for the Raiders. But as far as Aiden O'Connell goes, as just like I mentioned earlier, I mean, I'd have to do a little bit more research into O'Connell, but I mean, I think he's going to have a good safety blanket, either in one of two guys. Just like off the top of my head, either Devonte Adams, who was obviously not happy about all the Jimmy
Yeah,
G missed throws last game, or maybe even Michael Mayer. I'm a big
yeah,
Notre Dame fan. Got to watch Michael Mayer for a few years, and he was outstanding. I would love to see him get a little bit more involved in the offense. Obviously, not against the Giants, but if they lose, they lose, and whatever happens. So, I think it's all going to be about safety blankets for Aiden O'Connell against this New York Giants team. They've been a particularly productive pass defense, and they've been particularly productive with turnovers, whether it's forcing fumbles or getting interceptions over the last few weeks. So, as far as that goes, I think it's just about taking the safe stuff and probably just going through your running game.
yeah, that's exactly. And you gave it like a great point about Michael Mayer because he was playing with the Notre Dame, and you guys had the tight end Darren Waller. I mean, if they're gonna be like is a better fit for us because right now that after we just trade Darren Waller to the Giants as a tight end, and we got a Michael Mayer, which has no to baby Gronkowski, and he has to earn place right now. I mean, this is like a better fit for us because we need something like powerful. And if they're gonna form like a baby Gronk or these early years of the football right now, so you better ask her to fill those shoes of the rookie season right now because he he wants to ensure the successful first year. Even he doesn't guarantee the success, but he show up. This is gonna be like really prepared. And for the case of Darren Waller, I mean, we just have like a trade that was well unexpected about it. But I mean, they're gonna happen like this one. But I know that in some of the news right now because right now he's in injury. Right now he's gonna be potentially out weeks with hamstring injury. He's gonna be like out for weeks. That is the first thing to leave it right now. So I'm gonna ask you for a question right now. So who's gonna be like your backup tight end if Darren Waller isn't available for a few weeks to get in the field of the position of tight end?
Yeah, so that would ultimately, and I think that I think they should put Darren Wall on IR. I mean, they've been talking about this hamstring injury pretty much since the beginning of the season, and if he's feeling worse off of it right now, then the season's not going anywhere. The Giants should just pack it in terms of that stuff. With that being said, that would leave us to our second tight end, Daniel Bellinger, who really hasn't had much involvement in the offense, particularly because Darren Waller has been the number one, and the quarterback play has been garbage. The Giants haven't been able to feed Daniel Bellinger the ball. I would like to see more of that, but then again, you saw a lot of that last season. I think teams kind of started to figure it out. But maybe if you use him as a fullback more, that could be something. Behind him, you'd have to actually go to the practice squad. Lawrence Cager, who is a very much dollar store brand of Darren Waller because he's another converted wide receiver. Actually, came from the Jets, converted wide receiver to tight end. That is, he can't block, but he can catch passes, and he's just not as talented. So you have that, and honestly, you go to two other guys. The Giants might have to actually sign another tight end because I don't think the guys on the practice squad are reliable. Ryan Jones, who's an undrafted free agent out of East Carolina, and then you also have Tyree Jackson, who's a former quarterback converted to tight end, who was with Buffalo. He was also with Philadelphia, and hasn't really seen much game action at tight end. And Ryan Jones too. So you have to sign somebody else. I think that could happen definitely when you have Darren Waller put on IR. But as far as like featuring the Titans in the offense, I think it's gonna be Bellinger and maybe a little bit of Cager, but that's pretty much it. I mean, mostly just Bellinger, and the rest of the wide receiver core. I think will get much more action.
Yeah, that's exactly because I just saw for the news right now because Waller went to the Sun today. It's listed as questionable of being limited at the practice through the week, and the hamstring injury has been sent leave to force him to miss several games. It maybe it's gonna be like at a force of in between for the weeks because right now they had a tight schedule and everything. But it seems that they came healthy because they're gonna expect bringing it back as Daniel Jones, also the left tackle Andrew Thomas and even Neal. Also they had the opportunity to play this weekend. They had to seem to training for the right direction. And Jones has been clear for the Sunday for this week game. And he now denies it's gonna be like it against a decent jury, but he's not going to worry about it between the Giants because the last year, the last season, because you guys have Brian DeBall as the coach, and they have so many importance that nobody thinks it about for the impact for the New York Giants, including for the Danny Jones, Brian DeBall, and they actually go for the playoffs, and they have some amazing things that could happen for that team. But then they just have like a difficult situations. Also, they got the Blake calls for the Brian DeBall, also for the injury reports. I mean, they're gonna have it a lot difficult because us for the Raiders, we just have it through all these kind of the bad things gonna happen on that several times right now. But I mean that we're struggling like the defense, the offense because we're trying out for the identity. And this is not talking about for the Patriot way because they had Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, but they got fired. And right now we had Antonio Pierce, also Champ Kelly. I mean, there's a brand new things that about for the both teams because they are struggling not only for the defense, also for the offense, the special teams, which is very important. And I just see for the comments right now, I just see where they got Leo has a going, and we got another comment about and say, let's go Irish, and it say Rundown, and look at this here, the Raider Rundown, what's the deal? Salute panel, as a going the Raider Rundown. I gotta send you a link if you wanted to pull it out for the stream right now because we are live. We're talking about for the preview about Raiders versus Giants. So this could have happened like between defense, offense, online. I mean, both teams are struggling and up. And this kind of like a competition right now because you guys have a serious tough competition with Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and of course the Washington Commanders. But for us, for the Raiders, we had some tough competition with the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, and even the Denver Broncos. So it's kind of like the competition of that conference is getting like really bolder. It all depends for the coaching and of course for the defense.
Yeah. And the way I look into this game for the two sides In terms of expectations, I mean, the Giants, you know what? No, let me start with the Raiders because that's a little bit much easier. I
Yeah.
think at this point, the Raiders are just, I don't want to say playing with house money, but like you sense like a different energy, and you kind of know that the Raiders probably are not making the playoffs because of where they are. But I mean, you fired McDaniels, you fired your GM, you fired your offensive coordinator, and Antonio Pierce has kind of got these guys fired up and ready for Sunday. So if they do win, it's like, hey, listen, we won a game, and it's pretty much an audition for some of these guys that are going to be here next year or may not be here next year, whoever you guys have on contract years and whatnot. And also, most importantly, it's an audition for Antonio Pierce to become, a head coach. And this is his first like real look because he's never been a coordinator. Also, like he was last time he was head coach was a high school in California, shortly after his playing career. So the Raiders are just playing with house money at this point because their head coach got fired. They don't have any real expectations. As for the Giants, I mean, some of the NFL is sleeping on the Giants. I don't blame them, but you also got Daniel Jones coming back, and if he plays like he has been playing, and how the offense has been playing the last few weeks, I mean, it's pretty much kind of the same thing we were repeating. The Giants are going to draft a quarterback next year and all that. So it's just about, I guess, the lack of expectations for both teams. But if the Giants lose, there will be far more outcry. Now, let me ask you this, Raf.
Uh-huh.
Two questions about the Raiders. So, do you think that they should have hired Rich Bisaccia almost 2 years ago? And do you think that they should have gotten rid of Derek Carr?
I mean, they should have waited for Derek Carr because right now over this last years, because he had a chemistry with John Gruden and some past coaches like Jack Doyle. But I mean, this is like the decision to get rid of Derek Carr because of I know that he was not like precisely correct because over the last season they just had with chemistry Devontae Adams, and it just seems like they just got complicated because they are board partners from Fresno State, and they have so many questions about it for Derek Carr. But I think that it's the right decision to put out the coach right now. But I mean that we just saw like Derek Carr is leaving because right now we have even no history of because after 9 years it's been like a whole different history because I know he's getting like a productive but he has got like a he's not getting prepared for the next time because after 9 years without playoff wins, I mean, what the heck are they gonna do right now? Because it was a time move because as for he just learned how to the lesson. And for the Rich Biscaccia, I mean, that was just like the perfect decision to hire it out with Rich Biscaccia because we just saw like a leader of men because he had brought a lot of heart. He brought like a good knowledge for the football because he had a degree harder than Josh McDaniels did it. I mean, that he learned the lesson about this is going to have to the team right now because if we need something like the coaches to get prepared right now because if we wanted to do like as a leader as man to be prepared and learn about the football because we don't want to waste it like the coach and quarterback who doesn't waste it about the football because we need like a bolder decision, like a coach who learns and understands about the world of football because right now it's not that easy about it. And as far as the concern right now, I mean, that was the rightful decision that they got to move on. But I think this time it's like because we just drafted like a quarterback, which Aaron O'Connor, and right now Jimmy Garoppolo, I know he has a her petition because he understands about the experiment with Josh McDaniels and he goes for the 49ers because he almost did like winning the Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs. But I think that because the experiment, it doesn't work so good because I think we have the opportunity because if we just saw like Aiden O'Connor going into the ice, it was going to be a bright future of this generation right now. I mean, it's going to be happen. But there is some fans like now because in social media they just want Derek Carr getting back to right now for the Las Vegas Raiders, but right now it's getting comfortable for the New Orleans Saints, and I think it's worked perfectly great. And I'm not saying it because I'm just being like a just being optimistic right now because I really thought that this could be like let's just move on and let's just start like quarterback. But we just saw like Jimmy Garoppolo as a new quarterback. It seems that something's not working good. Because if we just see it like at a quarterback with a lot of passion, intensity, aggression, I mean, we just got a quarterback. And we just signed Jimmy Garoppolo, which is like kind of like crazy, but also they didn't understand it better. But I mean, over the last games, that he just played at his worst. And I'm not gonna put up with him, but I mean, this is gonna be the error was not addressed to the quarterback, but for the situation because the error had to go for it. Because if we gonna see like a lot of production about the quarterback and then to see who's gonna feed the wide receiver Devontae Adams. I mean, that much an include for the quarterbacks because that's for the quarterbacks. They just like to feed the wide receivers and the running backs, but I mean they just had a lot of solution to take it about it and was not addressing. And Leo just said for the comment right now, yes, was time move for DC as far as Rich lesson learned because he did hard hard the team that Josh McDaniels don't. And there was another comment for Leo. The error was not addressing the quarterback position probably after him, which I agree.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Sometimes you got to move on from a quarterback, but I guess at the end of the day, Jimmy G was Josh McDaniel's buddy. They go back to New England. That's why the decision was made. The contract was signed, and Dave Ziegler decided to sign him on. And well, to this point, hasn't worked out.
Yeah, the experiment it doesn't work out because I know that we just have it like it because we just have found out for the last seasons right now because Derek Carr and Khalil Mack was actually like the experiment that no one see that coming. They just had to move out for the wild card playoffs, but then we just had Jack Del Rio, John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia, and for the new head coach, which is Josh McDaniels, and between the quarterback Derek Carr, and of course Devontae Adams. It seems that they're having so much fun, but it seems there's something missing about it. There's something missing that nobody can say about it. And the fact is that because there's something wrong about this pyramid because their job for the quarterback is feeding up the wide receiver, the running back, and Jimmy Garoppolo was actually they're not doing anything because after doing jury report, it would just see like a Jimmy Garoppolo if they want to see 100% healthy. But what we just saw over the last games right now, it just seems like nothing has changed at all. Nothing has changed at all because right now we just see like Aiden O'Connor being like the right future direction because he had the powerful arms to feed the wide receivers and he got a powerful weapon to get into it. And after I saw that, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo was bench after the game for the news of Josh McDaniels and they still got fired. And Brian Hardy was giving like the worst performance against Chicago Bears as a starter after he's getting injured. I mean, something really happens in that case for the quarterbacks because if we don't have like a if we don't have a Jimmy Garoppolo before I had to go for the season right now, I mean, it's gonna be like the right choice to select which quarterback is available. It depends for all the cap space that we got for the Las Vegas Raiders. It all depends for the cap space and the money they could have spent for defense and of course the quarterback, which is cheaper and not very expensive.
No, I agree. I agree. It's all about the connection stuff like that, and
Mhm.
you got at this point again. You want to see what your future lies in, and starting Brian Hoyer the rest of the way. I mean, he's probably on a 1 year contract, so there's really no use in that. While Aiden O'Connell's a draft pick, so you got to see what he can do, what he can do, what he can do. I should say, down the stretch of these games.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, I just wanted to tell you with you right now because this is like a non-football topic because I know that you're a Giants fan and of course you work for the Big Blue in the Bronx, which is one of the most important podcasts to say about it. So let's just talk it about for a little bit about for the Knicks right now because this is like a non-football related right now because I know that you sort of like at a source right now because there was like a takeaways for the first five New Year Knicks games. I mean, it's been like a it's never too earlier to become like to overreact at the NBA. And over the last five games, which is the beginning of the season of the NBA, because We just love the basketball. It's just like a this isn't like a non-football take it. And right now, the last season, they just had Archie Barrett has been one of the best player of the team. Just played for Julius Randle, and who's made that he just helped with the pop in New York to the best season the franchise has had in a decade. But it has been Archie Barrett, not Randle, not Bronson, and it's been like the best and consistent player. And now that you see the Barry together pull his solid stretch, it is like a very small sample to see what does it get to keep it up, but it's got to look at the Barry concessions to start the season for the Knicks. But it's gonna be like at a one bright spots put against an amount for the guards right now. And I mean for the defensive four guards right now, the first one it was Drew Holiday, then RJ Barrett, then DeMar DeRozan, Jamal Ramid, and Terry Rozier. So can we thinking about any thoughts because this is like a non-football topic before we can move on right now because right now let's give you a thoughts about what's happened to the New York Knicks. R.J. Barrett and of course Mitchell Robinson. We continue to impress. Give me any thoughts about for the New York Knicks for the basketball.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the defense is always there with the New York Knicks. That's their system. That's who Tom Thibodeau is. He kind of prioritizes defense, but some of the same problems we're seeing for the New York Knicks in these first few games kind of goes back to last year as well, and it has been just like a microcosm of some of the bad things in Tom Thibodeau's tenure. Because, as I said, the defense has always been there, but you take a look at the lack of offensive ball movement. They clearly missed R.J. Barrett last night when they lost. Julius Randle, his inconsistencies, a lot of people want him out, so you just worry about him because he had a very good regular season last year. Julius Randle, he had a very good regular season, but and it was funny because a lot of people at the time, on the same hand, they wanted R.J. Barrett traded, they wanted him gone, they didn't move him, but when it came to the playoffs, it kind of switched. RJ Barrett was turning it on. He wasn't dominating, but he was turning it, he was being very good in the offense and getting much better, being a little bit more consistent. As far as Julius Randle, he wasn't erratically bad, but he also wasn't good, and kind of reverted back to that head case that we saw, a few times, obviously. And coming into this year, that's kind of been a little bit of the same issue. Add that to not making free throws, which is still unbelievable. I bet you if you look it up right now, or if anyone looks it up right now, the stats, the Giants. That was the last topic, but the Knicks, they're probably one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the NBA, and also as I said, lack of ball movement. And we could talk about like Mitchell Robinson, his good defense and whatnot, but the problem is he has no offensive game, and his lack of free throw shooting is again just terrible. But that's also a whole team thing. I mean, they have not been able to hit free throws. That's pretty much the issue with the Knicks. I believe there's something like 3-2 or 3-3 at this point. So yeah, actually no, they're 2-3. I think RJ Barrett was missed last night, but again, just a lot of inconsistencies which have been shown up in the past for the Knicks.
Yeah, that's exactly because I know that the New York Knicks has been like at a great opportunity to make it happen. I mean, because they just lost against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, they just got an amazing talent, but they need to involve a lot of more at the defense because it's gonna be like at a one game at a time because they gotta put a lot of faith, they gotta put a lot of intensity, and for me, they just have it until they just have to go for it. And right now they just have it like at another test right now because they're gonna face against Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow at the season tournament at group stage. And that's gonna be like a really hard because right now it's gonna be like a difficult test to beat up Damian Lillard and Giannis, which is terrible to beat it now because right now you have a great defense and offense, but you might be careful about for the Milwaukee Bucks defense because they're coming at hard when it comes to a duo of Damian Lillard and Giannis, which is on tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I expect the Knicks to probably lose that game. We have to see how RJ Barrett is progressing through his injury. But I mean, I guess like I'm new to this in season tournament stuff, so we'll see how it actually plays out. If you get blown out, then that's obviously not great. But if you at least are in the game or maybe even steal it versus the Bucks, and this is obviously an improved Bucks team with Damian Lillard, then you could take your positives and move it to the next game. As I said, I'm not familiar with the format, but let's just say you get eliminated if that's the rule, and you move on, or whatever the case may be. Your next game, you play with a little bit more confidence against whoever you're matching up against, whether it's coming back into the regular season or it's still staying in that tournament.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, we're gonna move on because we had some special guests coming up at 7 p.m. right now because we're not gonna close the stream because we're gonna wait until 7 p.m. to the another regular streams right now because we got another bunch of special guests right now. So Big Blue and the Bronx right now. Last thoughts and do you have it as a social media that the people can follow you, your content right now, so we can move on right now?
Yeah, so obviously, YouTube, Big Blue in the Bronx. We'll be doing our own Raiders preview, which will be out 12:30 on Saturday. Usually premiering. I got a Raiders content creator coming on for that one, and you guys, check that out and stuff like that. Twitter is where I'm active a lot. That's B Blue in the Bronx. If you look up Big Blue in the Bronx on Twitter, it's literally no different. But those are the main social media platforms. We have all types of content coming out, not just the Giants. Baseball season has ended, so the Yankees content and the Mets content will be brewing. And once a week, we're doing a Knicks game. I think we're doing Knicks Spurs next week, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, we'll debate on that and just some other weekly shows. So that's what we're doing there. Be sure to follow and link up. And I appreciate Raf having me on.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, make sure to subscribe to Big Blue and the Browns right now with Alice, Luca, and Professor because they bring a lot of great things. And the NBA, also with the NFL, the baseball, all kinds of stuff like that. So thank you. Thank you, Big Blue and the Browns. And I hope you see like a great game on Sunday afternoon between Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants. And I will see you there next time, Big Blue and the Browns. So have a good one.
Appreciate you, Raf.
All right, have a good one. So that was Big Blue in the Bronx right now because this is gonna be like a really excited. So right now there's 50 minutes left to the 7 p.m. and this is gonna be like a happening like this one. So I'm not gonna shut the stream. I'm not gonna shut the stream, all right? Because there's another special guest coming up at 7 p.m. Let's see what we got over here. It is what it is. Rafa, you say salute, Raider Nation. North Cowboy to JC. How's it going, Jesse? How's it going to you? Yep. Even though that I'm wearing this one, Black Sunday Nation. Yep. Even I look like Eric, what it is for the live stream because he's not he's not a lunchable guy. He's just like the youngest coach. And make sure to subscribe to the S Experience with Eric because he brought a lot of great things. Raiders, Lakers, Dodgers, and of course the UCC, which is college football. But I think this is gonna be like a really excited. And I mean, this is gonna be like a really about it because the first one we just talking about with the Big Blue and the Bronx, talking about for the preview of Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants. And they just talking about for the rivalry of New York sports between New York Giants versus New York Jets, which is on last Sunday. And right now, let's see what they got over here because right now for us for the Raiders because we had our last because this is gonna be like the week and we're just heading out for the third place. hmm So right now we got the Giants, which is on Sunday, November 5th. Also we got the Jets on November 12th. November 19th is gonna be against the Miami Dolphins. November 26th, 26th, folks. After Thanksgiving, we're gonna have a special game against Kansas City Chiefs. And the question is, they're gonna put a lot of Taylor Swift songs? No, I don't think so. Because All those because this is like a irritating because there's a fun play right now. All those Kansas City Chiefs fans, they're really loud with Taylor Swift because over the time we just see like country pop singer Taylor Swift get engaged with Travis Kills and everybody they just play over and over and over and over and over Taylor Swift over and for us as Raider fans right now, we just love the music, but much of the rock music and hip hop because we just love Metallica, Ice Cube, Slipknot, and Too Short, and of course Looney because remember the guy for the I got five on it. That was a great classic right now. So, all right, so give me 1 second, folks, because I'll be right back. Because I know at 7 p.m. there's gonna be like a special guest that's coming out right now. So hold on for a second because this is gonna be like a really exciting. So hold on a minute, folks. And then oh, there you go. Yeah, I know it's a sweater right now because it's getting like a cold right now. Yeah, it's getting cold right now, but I mean, this is something that I was realistic right now. But we had 2 minutes right now because I'm not gonna shut the stream right now because I'm gonna wait until the special guest coming out next right now because I mean this is happening like to us. And by the way, folks, have you ever sent email cards for Jimmy Garoppolo because today is the birthday of Jimmy Garoppolo. But the biggest surprise on his birthday, he didn't buy it. He got benched. And the social media, it came a lot of crazy, and they just drag over Jimmy Garoppolo's post all over the social media. Because after Josh McDaniels and Dick Silver got fired, they just see the Jimmy Garoppolo's bench. And I'm not kidding, folks, because the comments on the social media with Jimmy Garoppolo got benched. I mean, wow, they got some real bird. But for right now, it is what it is because right now we had a starter quarterback, which is Aiden O'Connor, and could be like the bright star of the generation for the Raiders. And I mean, this is gonna be like a really happening to us, and it's happening like at this point right now. I mean, that could happen like this. That could happen. That could happen. All right, so let's take them out for the history right now. I know that happened there's so much time for this right now, but he's been playing like at the 14 games right now. But let's just see what happened. All right, so the first time that the Oakland Raiders just played against for the New York Giants, it was on November 4th, 1973. That was just like 50 years. 50 years of the first game. 50 years, folks. 50 years. And the last one we got on November 7th of 2021, which Las Vegas Raiders had just lost against to the New York Giants 60 and 23. And that was the season. That was the season when Rich Biscaccia became like a interim head coach. Yeah, he became interim head coach and all these things happen like this one. And yes, so let's just see for the history right now that they just lead the series with 8 wins, 6 losses, and 0 ties. hmm Yeah, 0 ties. And let's just have a look at this one right now. But I gotta tell you something. If you guys see the press conference of Antonio Peters as a new as an interim head coach, I mean, this is gonna blow your mind. I mean, that was oh man, that was something that I was all right, all right, all right, all right. There you go. So I'm gonna share the screen right now. I mean, this is something that I was. all right, all right. There you go. All right, there you go. All right. So this is what he's saying of a presser with Antonio Pierce, and that was yesterday. So let's check him out.
I played at a high level, went all the way back to my roots and coached at Long Beach Poly. High school was a head coach there. Was at the New York Giants in 2017, and then college for 4 years, and had opportunities to leave and go to other organizations. I decided not to. The short story, the matter of fact, is I grew up in Compton, California. I was born a Raider. I was born with the Raiders rolling in the Coliseum in LA. I was rolling with NWA, talking straight out of Compton, rocking Raider hats. So when the opportunity came to work with Josh and Pat Graham and Dave, I jumped on it. So that's what set me up for this. I was born this way.
Yep, yep. That's what I like to say because it ain't the Patriot way, it's the Raiders way. Because they just had their roots on Oakland, Los Angeles, and right now Las Vegas. Because they're just being part of this one. And looking for this one because I'm gonna wear this hat right now. There you go, folks. It's all about the shield, and it's about the Raiders. And of course, we got some special guests right now because this is gonna be like really excited. And I know I've been contacting him over the last week to be part of the Civil and Black experience on that preview. For right now, he's right here. You might know him as RealMen Raiders. Now let's give it like a round of applause for this gentleman right now because this is gonna be like really excited to having a conversation with a brand new generation of these content creators. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you City Dinero as Noah's Real Man Raiders. How's it going?
What's up, Rafa? Thank you for having me, man.
All right, first and foremost, we just saw the press conference of Antonio Pierce because us as a Raiders fans, there's no Patriot way. There's
Nope.
no Josh McDaniels. There's no Daniel Ziegler. There's no Jimmy Garoppolo. It's about to get a new level, a new era for Las Vegas Raiders, and they're getting bold for all these kind of things like that. Because after I just saw from the news, that was really unexpected, and
Yeah.
that I would just set up as to say our prayers has been answered because everybody thought it's gonna be like a start with Josh McDaniels over there this year. They say no, because we just need like a leader of men. We just have like a coach with a great intelligence mentality and put all the good heart, soul, and much aggression when it comes to football. And when it comes to any given Sunday, the Radio Nation is always here to prove the haters wrong because
Yep.
we're not going anywhere. Because we got Champ Kelly, also we got Antonio Pierce, which is totally amazing. So give their thoughts about Josh McDaniels and Dick Ziegler got fired, and this is like the perfect opportunity to see a brand new era of the Raiders nation. And like the quote said of straight out of Compton, NWA, which is Nation with Attitude. I mean, it's gonna happen like the brand new era of Las Vegas Raiders. They're coming
Yeah.
back to the roots of Oakland, Los Angeles. Give it your thoughts.
Yeah. Going back to the firing, I mean, it was super surprising. I was getting ready for bed and I saw the news and I honestly I couldn't believe it. So I think me and Rundown we jumped on and we did a live and we just couldn't believe it. Like I honestly I didn't think Mark Davis had it in him. I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't think Mark Davis was gonna do it, especially this soon. You know, maybe if the next few games continue to get worse, even though us as fans, we'd already seen enough, but it was a surprise, and then when it happened so late at night, it was a big surprise. But after hearing the press conference and hearing the way Antonio Pierce is presenting himself and talking at the podium and just the confidence he has in the team, and he sees the talent we have, he knows that this ain't like Josh McDaniels didn't get fired because we're not playing good because we don't have the talent, like he knows what we have on the roster. He knows we have Max Crosby and Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, so just like you said, it feels like a brand new era. And like I wasn't even this excited for the first week of football, and I'm super excited for this Sunday's game just to see the energy and everything that the team comes out with. Like there has to be some type of weight lifted off their shoulders. There has to be fresh energy in that building.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, I know this is gonna happen right now because after we just saw Big Blue in the Bronx, give me the thoughts that about for the Raiders versus Giants, and of course, I got him backstage right now. Two special guests right now. One is a Giants content creator that you might know that he's ready for the football season, and I know him because he. And the another one is a Raiders die hard fan that I know this is gonna be like really excited, folks. So I just wanted to say welcome to the stream at this double episode Raiders versus Giants preview. So first, give it up for the round of applause for the big Dash right now, as known as Big Dash Knows, and the other one, he's a special guest, which is incredibly incredibly right, but this is gonna be like really excited. So you might know as the West Coast Pirate, but here it goes, folks. Here it is, Matt, the West Coast Pirate. How's it going?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, Rafa.
What's
Going
up,
on,
fellas?
fellas?
All right, salute to everybody else, but I know that this is gonna be like really excited. So, RealMen Raiders give us thoughts about the firing of Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler as known as because they're no longer as head coach and general manager. So right now they're gonna bring in a new era for the Raiders. And of course, a question for the Big Thatch knows because give it a thoughts about the preview of the Raiders versus Giants. So first we gotta talk with the West Coast Pirates. Give it a thoughts about Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are no longer as a head coach and general manager. And right now we enter the era of Champ Kelly and of course Antonio Pierce. Give it a thoughts.
Man, I mean, well, first off, thank you for the invite to the show, my man. Really appreciate it.
Mhm.
But to answer your question, goddamn, like the breath of fresh air that we all needed. I mean, I think we all
There you
got
go.
that jolt of excitement late, 10 o'clock at night. But I could tell you this: after hearing the presser, I am excited for this Sunday's game. I've been going since to all the home games since week one. And the wind's been kicked out of us, since the start. It's been tough loss after tough loss, struggling to put up 21 points per game. I mean, when you look at Hunter Renfrow on the sideline, not being utilized, Devontae Adams slamming his helmet on the ground. Um, something's got to be done. So, if anything, just happy for this breath of fresh air. Damon Pierce, Long Beach local right here on the West Coast. Really excited to see what he does on Sunday. I mean, you can already feel the energy in the building. I mean, I don't know if you saw the practice today. They're bumping NWA all day, so it's a different
Yeah,
atmosphere.
exactly.
Different atmosphere. If anything, really excited to see what he does on this Sunday. I mean, I'm not expecting us to go undefeated the rest of the season, But I could tell you this: we're probably going to see a lot more production. We're going to see the guys actually play with some heart, and really excited for AOC low key. The kid's finally going to get some playing time, much needed. But I think it's all hands on deck come Sunday.
Yeah, then of course we just saw like the new linebacker, which is a head coach right now because Antonio Pierce, not only which is a linebacker coach for Las Vegas Raiders, but you might know because credentially, because he was like a former player for the New York Giants and he had a Super Bowl. So Big Dash knows. And I know that you're a Giant fan, so give me your thoughts about for Antonio Pierce and of course for the preview between Raiders versus Giants. And I
Yeah.
know that Giants they got Darren Waller, us we got Michael Mayer, and this is gonna be like the battle between Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley, a battle of running backs that no one can expect it, but this is gonna be like really excited for all the teams right now, all the teams. So Big Tech knows. Give us a thoughts.
So again, I want to thank you for having me again, Raph. Man, appreciate it for reaching out. And well, and then shout out to everybody else in the panel as well. First thing I'll say about Antonio Pierce, man, I forgot he was on the staff. I forgot he was on the staff. I didn't know who you guys were going to replace, Josh with. I'm not a big fan of Josh McDaniels at all. I don't understand how he got that job at all. He knows where the bodies are buried. I'm assuming he gets chance after chance or something like that. But when it comes to Antonio Pierce, and I put out a video earlier today, and one thing about Antonio Pierce, I know him for being a Giants fan. He is a leader, a proven leader. Probably the up until we got Bobby Okereke, probably the best linebacker we had outside, Lawrence Taylor and all those guys. But when in most recent years, and this is almost 20 years ago, but Antonio Pierce is an absolute leader. And I said in the video that I put out, I said, if I know anything, he's going to have those guys emotionally ready to play on Sunday. I don't know much about the rest of the coaching staff or who they retained. I know you guys got rid of the offensive coordinator too. But I just know that from Antonio Pierce. He is somebody that he'll get these guys up and ready to play, and you'll run through a wall for Antonio Pierce. So when I saw the clip of Max Crosby too that he sent out to the fans talking about to come out to Allegiant Stadium and all that. And and somebody was like, what is he on? I'm like, he's on Antonio Pierce because I could tell. But for me, Waller's not playing. He was ruled out earlier today. So that's disappointing. Obviously, we're getting back Daniel Jones. Hopefully, we get back our two tackles. I'm curious to see what's going on because I think for both teams, this is a gotta have it type of win.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you guys. I don't know if because some Giants fans are ready to pack it up and get into the draft. I don't know if you guys have those same sentiments when it comes to the Raiders. But for me, like I said, I'm anxious to see what's going on. I have the utmost faith in my defense because my defense is coming along and we're firing right now. But that offense is the biggest question mark right now. Even with Daniel Jones coming back, you saw when he was here, he wasn't doing the best. So I'm hoping that he got to see those first 2 weeks with Tyrod Taylor being able to push the ball a little bit. Hopefully, he does that as well. But I'm open for this game. I'm hoping for the win. I think we can still beat the Raiders. Max Crosby terrifies me, especially if he's lined up against Evan Neal. But I don't know. But Aiden O'Connell, he's getting a start, right? Is Aiden O'Connell getting a start this week?
Yeah.
And I actually liked him out of Purdue. He was one of those forgotten quarterbacks. He can get the job done, I think, but it's just about him getting coached up. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than some Giants fans think. But I think defensively, it should be a good game. It should be a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. All right, so we'll just see what are the comments right now. Let's see what I got over here. Solo Empire, what's good, Mike? Mark Davis didn't fire them.
Shout out
Raider
Solo.
Nation fired them. That's why it feels so good
did
right
it.
now. Yes, and Trump City to say 40-10. Salute Rafa. Yeah, and shout out to all these persons right here at this chat right now because we're just doing like a preview between Raiders with the Giants preview. And I know this is gonna be like a double episode because first we got some special guests at 7 p.m. and then we got some another special guest at 9 p.m., which is definitely is gonna happen like this one. So well, as we got over here, we got unpopular opinion sports. What's good, fellas?
YG.
Yes, there's
What's happening?
another giant creator. This is gonna be like a happen like this one, and I know this is gonna be like a really excited because what are those topics that we usually go for it? Because there's gonna be like the key matchups right now. So let's see what we got over here. So this is like the key matchups between Raiders versus Giants. So Aaron O'Connor is the starter quarterback versus Daniel Jones. Also, we got the battle between Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley. And we got Giants defense and online versus Raiders defense online. I mean, they could happen like this one because this is gonna be like everything could happen, like the defense and the offline. I mean, they're struggling with the defense right now. But I mean, if we had Aiden O'Connor as a starter quarterback, he's gonna get it brighter right now. But for the case of Giants, they had Daniel Jones coming back and Darren Waller getting injured. I mean, Big Deck knows. I mean, who's the backup at tight end who can replace of Darren Waller due to injury right now? I mean, it could happen like a battle right now. So give us a thought about what's going to happen for the defense of both teams, like the Raiders and the Giants. First,
Um,
we gotta, first we got to start with City De Niro, then we got West Coast Pirates, and then Big Dash knows. So let's just start with City De Niro about what can improve about the defense of the Raiders on this any given Sunday against the Giants.
Well, I know they just got rid of Leonard Williams, and I don't really know too much about like the defense over there. I know they ain't no scrubs. I know they ain't no bum defense, but not having Leonard Williams, I think is just one less person to have to worry about. Especially our O line hasn't been perfect. Like there's been times where all three quarterbacks have had time to throw. So they've showed their potential and what they can do. I really hope that Max could eat and get to Daniel Jones, like he does. And I think with that new energy, that new spark, I think we're gonna see, I don't want to say a completely different team, but we're gonna see something different on the field than when we did when Josh McDaniels was the head coach. So again, I hope our O-line holds up to the rest of the defense that they have over there, because I think one of them's Lawrence. And I know they got one other guy. I can't remember his name right now, but I know they got good people over there, So I really hope with Aiden O'Connell starting that we can move the ball a little bit. Josh Jacobs could hopefully get like 100 yards on the ground, and that'll really open up our offense, and we can really see what this team got.
Yeah. West Coast Pirate, give it a thought of the wicked improve about the defense and the odd line, especially against the New York Giants. Because if we need to improve about the defense to get enough for the offense and to get a new identity, so give it a thought of what can improve about the defense and the online.
No, you bring up a great point. I think to the Giants defense, you got to give them credit over the last 3 games. They're holding teams to under 15 points, something to highlight. And on top of that, we've been struggling to move the ball on the ground all year. Josh Jacobs just had his first game where he's averaging over 4 yards a carry. So I have him in fantasy personally, drafted him as my second round pick, pretty much tanked my league. But outside of that, I think it's really going to ultimately come down to passing the ball. If you look at both teams passing the ball this past week, both struggled. I think the Giants averaged, I think, -7 total passing yards at the end of the game. Us, we weren't any better. We were positive net 77 yards with Jimmy G. Still 2 performances that you don't take home to write about. So I think it's going to come down to AOC using that young cannon that he's got. I mean, we saw bits and pieces through preseason, a little bit of the Bears game, Chargers game. I think it was a learning curve. We got to give the kid more time. But yeah, I think outside of that, Daniel Jones obviously coming back hasn't really had, the type of numbers that at least we're used to seeing last season. I mean, I had him streaming some weeks in fantasy. So I think it's their first visit to Vegas. They're going to feel the energy. The boys are going to be fired up from Damon. It's going to be a fun shootout. I'm expecting we're popping 21 points at least at the end of this game. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. And Big Tech knows. Give it a
yeah.
thought.
I think similar to what happened last week. I think it's going to be a defensive game, like the game we had against the Jets. I think it's going to be defensive, and I think the offense is a question mark for both teams. Like we don't know exactly what to expect on either side. I know for the Giants side, we have expectations for Daniel Jones. We just haven't seen it this year. Obviously, coming off of last year where we thought he was going to take that next step, we didn't see it in the first 5 games. So now it's just, I'm just sitting back and like, okay, hopefully, first thing, can we protect them? Is Andrew Thomas coming back? Is Evan Neal coming back? I like our centers back. The guards have been playing pretty well the last couple of games. Glowinski has, and it's all about can he let the ball go? That's it. We've seen plays where guys are wide open or running open or could possibly be open, and he won't pull the trigger. And I'm hoping that that he does that this week. And again, the
Yeah,
defense is there's no shabby defense with the Raiders. You guys got some players on that side. Max Crosby is an animal. You got the cornerback too. I can't remember his name right now. The guy you guys just picked him up from Baltimore. What's his name? He got the pick
Marcus
six
Peters.
last week. He got the pick six last week, right? Or was it the week
Yeah.
before?
It was last
He
week.
made up for those missed tackles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
he's a gamer. He's a trash talker. I mean, I like his game. I've always been a fan of him. I actually thought maybe we could pick him up before he went to Baltimore, but I just think that it'll start off slow, most likely. Dexter Lawrence can be Dexter Lawrence. I think that's going to be the key matchup. Can he push the pocket? Can he get to Aiden O'Connell? And then Kayvon Thibodeau coming off the edge. Can he, capitalize on what he did last week and keep adding on, to this. I guess he's starting to break out. He's third in the league for sacks right now, tied for third. And we're just hoping that he finally turns into who we think he can be. But outside, I just think it's a tough fought game. It's going to be in a dome. Daniel Jones has been pretty good when it comes to domes. You can ask the Saints. You can ask the Minnesota Vikings. He's pretty good when it comes to domes. So hopefully we can use that as our advantage in this game.
yeah, exactly. And I really thought it because right now that we have some of the breaking news right now because we have an injury report right now because right now it seems that they're going to the practice right now. I mean, the fellow quarterback Terry Taylor has been officially ruled out for the week number 9 against the Las Vegas Raiders, and Tommy DeVito gets given as a nose as a number 2. And in addition, tight end Tevin Waller has been ruled out for Sunday's game, which is expected given he will miss several weeks. I don't know what's going to happen between the season right now, but I mean, it's going to happen like this one. Then let's check them out for the injury report against for New York Giants right now. So let's get at how to this right now. So we just have it like that. We're gonna share about the screen right now because this is gonna be like a really fun to see it or watch right now. All right, so let's just see what happened. All right, so there he goes. All right, so the player Daniel Carson is going to go for the limit practicing on Thursday. Max Crosby with limited practice on Thursday. Also, Devon Diablo as a linebacker, he did not practice on Thursday. Also, Nate Cobbs, Jacob Jobson, Luke Masterson, Talia Mumford, Robert Spillane, and Brandon Boulder. They're saying they have a limited practice. But the Raiders did not practice on Wednesday, which is an estimate right now. And of course, we get a seed of the injury report for the New York Giants. Tyrod Taylor did not practice on Thursday. Darren Waller did not practice for a hamstring. Saquon Barkley with limited practice. Graham Kennels, the kicker. Evan Neal, Wandale Robinson, Kevin Thibodeau, Andrew Thomas,
That's a
Danny
long
Jones.
list.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, it's kind of a damn list right now. But this is like the injury report that we just see for the Raiders versus Giants.
I got one thing
Also,
for you, Raph. One
uh,
thing. Divine Diablo. Is he any good? Because that's a hell of a name to have. And with a name like that, you gotta be good. I would. Is he any good?
He has
Divine
his
Diablo.
flashes. He has his flashes
Good.
where
That's a
he
waste of it.
shows it.
Good lord, that's a hell of a name.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
that number is fire too. That 5.
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
and of course, there's a linebacker room between Robert Spillane and Devon Diablo because I know that Devon Diablo was really nervous about the first season. But I think with his second season, he just learning at his best right now because he just proved that a linebacker room is gonna be like at a full team ball, all that about for the defense. So right
And we
now,
just
let's
picked up
see.
Jalen Smith too. I wonder if he's gonna play.
Yes, yes, it is. So let's check them out for the comments right now. Let's see what I got over here. Jimenez, salute, Rafa, and panel. Also, we got August is in the building. Hello, August right now. Another Raider Nate. How's it going? We're gonna head to the prediction right now. Raiders 77,
Shout out 99.
Breeze. Oh,
Good
yeah,
lord,
right
man.
now. Yeah, right now we got us some coming up unpopular sports right now. Got dashed up with all these Raider fans. Shame on you, Rafael. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
All right.
Raph is usually the sole Raiders fan when he's in those Giant spaces. But yeah,
Yeah, but
I see you, Raph.
all right. We got Anthony Strada to say, Joe Rafael, salute, man. Also, we got Brian Cobb right now. Anthony Strada to say, how's well looking out? Oh my goodness. This is like another
The low
good
blows.
fun to watch him. Also,
Is he
got
still
Daniel
rapping? Is he still making rap music over there in New York?
You know, I didn't know he rapped till we got him, and then I saw the clips of it. But listen, to defend Darren Waller, he wasn't getting the targets, man. He wasn't getting the targets, and now he's hurt, and that's what everybody was warning us about.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good one. But I think this is gonna be like it'll really happen to all of us because this is gonna be like a fun to watch right now. But I mean, if we just saw for the Raiders right now, because we just involved like in another addition right now, another addition. But don't get confused right now because we just saw it about for the nation right now. Don't be confused at all because we just had like a new coach and there was a lot of changes. But I think that it's time to revitalize the team and give it like a perfect time to work. And this is gonna be like a really to do about it because this is gonna happen with the offense and the defense gonna building up against the Las Vegas Raiders, which is totally amazing. Between Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants, they will see like a familiar faces. They just got Darren Waller. Also, they got Antonio Pierce. I mean, this is gonna be like a fun to watch, and this is gonna be like a great party about it. Anthony started to say 27-10 Raiders. I'm gonna be party with the nation Sunday, and we got David Corona. How's it going, David Corona? Thanks for stopping by for this live stream right now. And I really thought it's gonna be like it'll really happen right now, but this is gonna be like a fun to watch between Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants because it's been like a 50 years about for the first game between Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants. And the last game that they just played, it was just like 2 years ago. That was on November. That was in November that we just lost against for the Giants with Daniel Jones. I mean, time's fly. So right now we just got Eden O'Connor as a starter quarterback. You guys have Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, and of course we just have Michael Mayer. I mean, it all depends for the coaching mentality of Antonio Pierce, and of course, and it comes with much aggression, intensity, because the Giants are building out for struggling out for the defense and the offense. Also, the Raiders are struggling out for the defense and the offense. But right now, if we should see like a great game right now, it all depends for the coaching. It all depends for the defense. It all depends for the offense. It's like a great game to watch in any given Sunday for all these New York fans, Las Vegas fans. It all depends for everything.
I think there's also one aspect of it too. Patrick Graham, our old defensive coordinators. Now,
Oh yeah.
your defensive coordinator. He
Yeah,
was here. He was here when Daniel Jones was here. You know, he knows how to coach against Daniel Jones. So I'm pretty sure he has some type of plan in place, some type of scheme to try to go against what Daniel Jones does best, and that's hopefully using his legs. The big question for me is, with that neck injury, is he going to try to take off as much as he used to? I don't know how much he's going to try to protect himself, but I need him full go. If you're not ready to go, and we need your legs, because if you don't want to throw the ball, we're going to need you to run for some of those first downs. That it became a storyline. Like prior to what happened with you guys firing and get rid of those guys, and before the New York Giants pretty much falling down on our faces at the beginning of the season. The storyline here was, okay, you got Garoppolo, you got Jones. It's kind of like, okay, it's a toss up. We're not sure what's going to happen. You got Devontae Adams, high hopes for Devontae Adams and Garoppolo. Now Adams seems to be a little disgruntled. I mean, maybe not now because of the change, but I think the storylines just keep adding up. Now you have real interest in this game. I think, especially on both sides. You got the return of Daniel Jones, and now you have this new emergence, or I should say, this new vibe of filling in the building for the Raiders with Pierce, and it becomes, I guess, a bigger thing now. I kind of wish I would have been able to get tickets and went to this game instead of the San Francisco game. But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
bring up a
to
great
touch on
point.
that, I
Uh-huh.
think that feeling spreads a little bit more than the locker room, because the whole Raider Nation is feeling it. Like we're so excited, and like how he said earlier, it's like a breath of fresh air. You know, like watching Devontae Adams earlier, like you could just tell by his body language, like he's a little bit happier, and he ain't, you know, he said he wants to have fun again, you know, and that it felt too much like work, and you could see it, you know, with them trying to enforce that Patriot way and everything. So I think the whole Raider Nation is going to feel it. I really hope they show up to Allegiant Stadium too to support this new era and what might be, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly. And they just brought like a bias with the hip hop group NWA with Ice Cube. Remember that group with Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Easy E, and they just blasting it out for Boys in the Hood. I mean, they could have it like the brand new era for the Raiders Nation because right now they just brought Champ Kelly, Antonio Pierce. I mean, this could happen because right now the Raider Nation they're not going each other because
I got a question. I
uh
got a question for you guys too, because when you guys got rid of Gruden, and I forget who the interim coach was, but you guys played hard for that guy too. I
Versace.
forget it. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, Rich.
yeah. Because and he didn't y'all go to the playoffs too, or well,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Davis decided to do what he got rid of him, and then you go with Josh McDaniels. And what's crazy? Like everybody knew, except for I guess Mark Davis, what it was when it came to Josh McDaniels. Like, I don't know how you guys felt when you guys first hired Josh McDaniels, but I know for me personally, I seen the rodeo with Josh McDaniels. You guys had a front row seat when he was in Denver. When he was a coach in Denver, he ruined that franchise too. So
Yeah.
now hopefully, and again, I'm a fan of Antonio Pierce. I'm not saying that I'm curious to see how you guys fight for him the rest of the year, but Mark Davis has to like look at that, and if he's taking the pulse of the fan base now to make that move to get rid of these guys, if Antonio Pierce somehow turns things around and you guys are fighting for Antonio Pierce, really give that man a shot next year.
Yeah, it has to be a
Like really,
discussion to talk about.
really give him
yeah,
a shot. Because I don't know what kind of coach he's going to be, but if he turns it around, really give like the other guy you said, Biash. He never got a
Versace.
chance after that.
Yeah.
He never got a chance, and he was a good damn coach too. He was a good
He's
coach.
a player's coach. He's a
Yeah,
player's
Yeah.
coach.
and I
yeah,
You guys
think
bring up great
that's what
points.
yeah, and that's what
I
Antonio
didn't mean to
Pierce.
interrupt there.
No, you're good. No, I'm just for me, like knowing the player Antonio Pierce is, if he's that same type as a coach, he might mess around to be a gym. He might be a
Go
gym.
watch the press conference if you
I
got
didn't
like
see it yet.
15
Yeah,
minutes.
I will. You guys talked about it. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and watch that. But
Yeah.
like I said, if it's the same Antonio Pierce that I remember, I can see why you guys are pretty much riled up about it. And I
Yeah.
saw Max Crosby's, and he looked like he was fired up. And I'm like, oh Lord, we don't need no extra energy from Max Crosby. But there it is. There it is.
I think you brought up a good point with the Patrick Graham thing, because I didn't even think of that. And I think what's even more interesting is why he didn't get the head coach nod and why they went to Damon Pierce, the linebacker coach. But I mean, it all comes down to energy and atmosphere. I mean, to Homeboy's point, it's on all the players' faces. But our last game, I mean, defensively, Patrick Graham, I mean, I think he needs to like huddle down. I mean, we're from what I saw last game, 222 yards on the ground alone. Saquon Barkley's a beast. I mean, the Giants are used to feeding that kid. He's used to getting the workload. So I think it's going to be interesting what we see Sunday as far as both teams. And to your point, Patrick Graham does know how to beat Danny Dimes, but there's got to be some bad blood, I think, somewhere on that field.
Yeah. No, you're right. Is he still running that soft zone a little bit though, Graham?
Yeah, man, it drives me nuts.
Yo,
So,
I hated that soft zone, man. Like he'll let you get everything in front of you, in front of it. But if it's third and 5 and you're back 8 yards, what's the point?
Yep.
What's the point? So he hasn't changed that though. He hasn't changed.
No, man, he's still rubbing soft zones. There's 7 to 10 yards off,
Yeah,
especially on third
the
downs.
only time those work is when we get some decent like coverage, and
True.
when that little bit of coverage gives like Max a little bit of time to get there.
True.
You know,
True.
It's the only time that kind of shit works.
Yeah,
I hated that soft zone, man. Good lord.
yeah, and every time we just speak it about it, but I know that we just have a great fun with a special guest. So my question for you, the West Coast Pirate, and of course it involves with RealMen Raider, and of course Big Dash knows because the question that I'm asking you for everything because I know that you're a Raiders diehard fan. So do you have like a bright moment that you changed your life because right now that moment it will change your life that you saw that the Raiders just won in an important game that you actually got a brawl for your life right now.
Okay, Ralph, I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question. You asked what moment
What
did
moment that one moment that you changed your life as we became for the fan as the Raiders?
what moment did I change my life for the Raiders? Oh, okay, that's a
Yeah,
great question.
exactly. Hmm.
Okay. Back to 2015, 2016 season, we just traded Carson Palmer to the Arizona Cardinals, and we got a draft pick that we used to pick up Derek Carr. That was when I first started like hearing about the team, learning about the team. Went to a game in Oakland a couple times, and it just grew into me. So I was fortunate to attend games in the Coliseum. Once I heard about the news to the move to Vegas. I was disgusted with the idea, but I saw the stadium being built, saw the transition, and slowly, fell in love with the mystique of the city. I mean, I'm a big poker player, so I'm out there already, once a month, just spending absurd amounts of money in Vegas. Just kidding. My wife is watching this, but yeah, I think just the mystique and that the city brings alone with the silver and black, attitude. It was a match, that made in heaven. So 3 years into the season, into Vegas, since 2020, been to all home openers, especially that one when we won in overtime against the Ravens. Um, the silver and black blood has only grown deeper within my bones. So I got it blasted on my chest. This is 365.
Wow.
It's not just
That's a
16.
real commitment.
It's not just 16 weeks out of the year for me. This is it's 365. So
That's what's up.
Wow.
just win.
Yeah, same question for you, CT. What moment that you changed your life as a Raider fan that you always capture in your life? What moment that you really changed your life as a Raider fan? The first moment.
Well, all right. First moment, I was gonna say I got two, but the very first, I mean, I've been a Raider fan my whole life. I was born into it. My dad, family members, my cousin had a dog named Raider that got a Raider shield airbrushed on him all the time. So it's just been in the family. But my turning moment for being a Raider fan and kind of like the fan I am today had a lot to do with Khalil Mack getting traded because that was the first time I was super, super invested in the offseason. And that led me into like having like loving the draft and the offseason and looking forward to that just as much as regular football. So ever since everything happened with Mac, I've been like super into the draft. I went to the draft when it was in Vegas. I follow the team all year round. Like he said, it's 365. It's not just for these weeks. And that really started helping me understanding the game and looking at the game a lot different. And ever since then, I've just been like every single day, is Raiders, whether we're playing or not. I want to see what we're doing in the offseason. I want to see who we're going to pick up. I want to see who we could potentially trade for, however it goes, So that really led me into me doing what I do now, following the team all year round and creating content and just loving the Raiders. It's I might not like coaches, I might not like certain players, but it's always going to be the shield and the team before anything. So I'd have to say when everything happened with Khalil Mack, that kind of like it kind of really, turned me into like I don't want to say a diehard Raider fan, but it got me interested in everything else about the team.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
exactly. And of course, for Big Dash knows, what was the moment that you became like a giant fan? What was the moment that you captured in your whole life? Because we're just talking about for Raiders versus Giants. So Big Dash knows.
So yeah,
Be the first moment.
well, just like the guys that spoke before me, I was born into it. I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm from northern New Jersey, so you were either a Giants fan or a Jets fan. My family just so happened to be Giants fans. I've been alive for all 4 Super Bowls. I don't remember the first one because I was too young, but that one in 1990, I remember what it was Whitney Houston singing the national anthem. I remember that.
Oh, just
I
Probably
remember
one of the
why.
best national anthems
Yeah,
ever.
I remember wide right, and it's funny too because I was little at that time. I didn't even sit down and watch the game, but I just remember the excitement in the house. Everybody else, I'm just a little one running around. But at that point in time, when it came to the field goal, I don't know if it was my uncle or my father. Somebody called me to, just to stand there and watch that part of the game. And of course, the why I don't understand the damn thing that's going on. All I know is the whole house is excited, and they're excited because the Giants won the Super Bowl, and that's what pretty much kicked it off. Outside of that, I had a couple stories. Fourth grade, we had a field trip to Giant Stadium. That's the first time I ever met Carl Banks. Carl Banks turned into my favorite New York Giant ever. And then I remember when I moved to Las Vegas because I lived in Las Vegas for 10 years. Um, in 2007 when we won that Super Bowl. When we won that Super Bowl, I remember sitting on my couch by myself because there was no other Giants fans around me, and having to enjoy that by myself. It turned me into somebody like, you know what, I want to voice my opinion. There's no other Giants people around me. I'm going to just start talking Giants, and then that turned into what it turned into. And then years later, got up enough courage to start a YouTube channel, and we're here right now. So that's what it is from birth, Giants fan.
hmm
And I
and of
just want to
course,
throw in one little other one. I don't know if you guys like play Madden or fans of Madden or anything like that,
Yes,
oh,
but
sir.
I've been playing Madden since the Pixel days. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like facts,
Yeah.
and the very first, I can't remember. I think I want to say it was like '08 or '05 maybe, but the very first season where you could move a team, I'm not lying. I moved the Raiders to Las Vegas.
Oh, that's what's up.
And
That's
so
sick.
so that was my second one that I was gonna say that I did that when I was a little kid, and to see that happen when I was older is just like, wow, I did that when I was younger. Like that's pretty crazy. So
Sick.
wow.
And
it's
then
just that surreal moment.
what's Coach Pryor? You said, are you in the Bay Area?
I'm Orange County, brother.
Okay, okay.
Southern
Now, 'cause
California.
I'm in Arizona now. I just spent the last 7 years in the Bay Area, so I was surrounded. And then I remember when they first announced that you guys were moving to Las Vegas, and I remember the Coliseum and how much people complained about how run down that stadium was. And I said,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and when I heard that Las Vegas was getting the bid, I knew it. And then when I saw the blueprint for the stadium, I said, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
You guys are gone, man. But I worked with a lot of Raiders fans, and at first they had mixed feelings. But a lot of people like you, they went out to watch them at Allegiance, and they said that the atmosphere is ridiculous in that stadium. So I'm glad you guys found somewhere where you appreciate it, and they built that stadium for you guys. And your stadium is
Well,
not a lot nicer than what we play in for
I'll
sure.
stop. I'll say this. I can tell you, hands down, Oakland or Vegas is not Oakland,
It's
and
not.
Oakland will never be Vegas. And from a tailgate perspective, I feel embarrassed at some points. Where you come into the parking lot and you just see rows of empty parking spaces. I mean, it's sad that it's now a traveling visiting team town. We lost our home field advantage.
Yep.
It's great if you're the Giants. It's great if you're Pittsburgh. It's great if you're, the Eagles. But if you're the Raiders, we definitely don't have that home field advantage anymore. And it's going to be a while until that is brought back. I mean, a lot of us blue collar guys,
hmm
we don't have an extra $1,000 to throw at a
That's a
weekend
fact.
in Vegas,
Yeah.
to
Tell you.
go enjoy a game. So some of us,
That's
creative
that's one of the
guys.
main reasons why I didn't go to the Vegas game. I chose San Fran. I said, let
Yeah,
me just drive down here because
yes,
if you go to a Vegas game, you got to make that a
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. So to combat that, as of late, some of us creative guys, we've been just pulling day trips. We pack up a car, we leave at 4 a.m. We're at the tailgate by 9:30. Tailgate, for a couple hours, hit the game. We're on literally the 15 freeway by 6, 7 o'clock if it's a morning game.
Yeah.
Usually stay the night if it's a night game because at that point you need a couple hours of sleep. But I do miss the smell of Oakland, especially when you walk into the bathrooms. The smell of the cigarettes and the extracurricular activities going on. I mean, that in itself is an experience.
Yeah, that was just like a great experience. But I just wanted to tell you to everybody who's watching this live stream because we just wanted to never move out to Las Vegas because that's the reason that the Raider Nation became the most popular. It became like the world most famous fan base in the whole world because they have so many fans, not only in California, but also they got in Mexico, Australia, they got in Japan, they got in England, they got in Germany. I mean, they're all everywhere. And they never left because they all grown with the roots in California, in Oakland, in Los Angeles. I mean, they're really part of it. And the last time that you saw for 2019, the last season with the Oakland Raiders, they say, we're now going to move out to Las Vegas because that's the best business. Because the origins of that team is in Oakland, California, which is totally impressive to see how the team is going to involve like the great generations because we just brought like the great things of Las Vegas Raiders in Oakland because they just had Al Davis, Flores, they got Ken Stabler, they got Charles Woodson, and they got Marcus Allen. I mean, they had an amazing stuff of Las Vegas Raiders
Yeah, it's a lot
now
of legends.
represented.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, we have some in the comments right now because we got to wrap this up because we just have some comments right now. So we got Anthony Estrada that says the Giants are all right, okay. Now beginning of the season in the trash, but now just setting that turbine. All right, so let's hear another comment right now for the Unpopular Opinion Sports. I met a Raiders fan at the draft, and he FaceTimed Daniel Bellinger, which is a Giants tight end, and we spoke to him. I thought that was cool. No beef with Raiders fans, but y'all about to take this L Sunday. Well,
Not
Somebody
throwing
backing me
7
up.
yards under far. Well,
we'll see
but
who
real
got the
quick,
best
Rafa.
blouse. We'll
That was
see who
by
got the
design. That's what the coach told us. It was by design. -7 yards was by design.
unpopular opinion sports. I support you, but this right here is gonna
We
take the
You could just
W.
blame it on the rain, brother. We could just blame it on the rain.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I wish I
All right.
could.
All right. Unpopular opinion sports is to say AP is a dog. Raiders got themselves a good one. He'll fire Patrick Graham. Even from the sack defense with Blitz
Yeah,
or Graham
Pierce. Yep.
plays too much and soft. We got Protect the Shield podcast. Was good. Raphael, salute to the panel.
Shout
City
out
Dinner was
Chris.
still found. Also, we got Brian Cobbett is here. Raiders should never have moved. And they say, I believe the Raiders will move back to Oakland.
They
To the
should have built that
beginning.
stadium for him. They wanted a
Nah,
new stadium. They should have built
yeah.
it.
True.
Oakland didn't want to give it to him.
They
That's why.
didn't. They wanted.
That's why Golden State's leaving too. You know,
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly. Brian Cobbett
and
to say the NFL wants to
Yeah,
rent
look
and
how it
like
turned out.
not Oakland. Yeah,
even
that's
even if Oakland, if we would have stayed in Oakland, I don't think the stadium would have been what it is.
Nah.
You know,
Nah.
and I even said I made a video about this last year, like when the season kind of first started, how we lost home field advantage just because of like now it's a tourist town. You know, like what other stadium can you go to, drink, walk out with your drink, and then just keep doing your thing, you know, and you can stay there, you can make a weekend out of it. Like you said, some people that never been there, fuck it, make a week out of it. You know, so for I mean, I'm like 2.5 hours from Vegas. You know, I stay in the high desert, California, so
Okay.
That's right.
it's easy for me to go to Vegas, turn around and come. You know, but even with the tickets prices, what they were this year, like I you know, I didn't think it was worth it for my money to go pay that to see Jimmy Garoppolo and McDaniels after what I saw he put on the field last year.
Oh, no.
But if the team does start winning, I will say this: if the team does start winning, you'll start to see those seats fill back up again and that home field advantage come back, because that's all it's going to take, in my opinion. That's all it's going to take, in my opinion.
Winning,
Yeah.
winning cures all. Winning cures all. That's for sure. That's the
Yep.
recipe right there.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we wanted to wrap this show right now because this being like an amazing first part of this double episode of Silver and Black Experience. Give it the thoughts that about for the Raiders versus Giants preview. Thank you, Real Man Raiders, West Coast Pirates, and of course, Big Dutch Nose. Give it a
You
last
already know.
thoughts before we wrap this out right now. What can we find at the social media? And give it a last thoughts first. City Dinero, RealMen Raiders, also West Coast Pirates, and last but not least, Big Tech Knows. Give it a last thoughts and what can give us what can we follow us on the social media?
Last thoughts on the game.
Yeah.
First and foremost, thank you again, Rafa, for having me. You always tap into my shows and everybody I network in and support. So I support those who support me, so thank you again. And for my last thoughts on the game, I honestly think with the spark that we're gonna have, I think it's gonna be a good game. I want it to be a good game. Even if we lose and it's a good game and it's a close game, I won't be mad. Like you said earlier, I don't expect us to go undefeated the rest of the year, but I'm expecting like a burst of energy. So I'm super excited about this game. I'm expecting it to be a really good game, and Raiders going to win, of course.
Hell yeah.
And my social medias are RealMen Raiders, RealMen_R_Raiders, just like how you see, and that's on YouTube and Instagram. And I appreciate it again, man. Thank you very much. Raider Nation for life.
All right, West Coast Pirates.
So you could find me on Instagram, Twitter, West Coast Pirates _. We got patches, we got shirts. We're a fan club. We fuck with anybody who fucks with the Shield. So we stay out of drama. But outside of that, appreciate the love from the panel. Real quick for anybody, Rafa, to your point, Charles Woodson. I am raffling off an autograph.
Oh, you get a
Woodson
raffle
whiskey
for the
bottle.
whiskey,
Oh, that's what's
and
up.
you get a
along
autograph.
with a side portrait. It's all on my Instagram, West Coast
Not the
Pirates
jump
_
out.
if you want to tap in. We got
Yeah.
9 spots left for this one. I actually have one more that we're going to be doing after, but yeah, tap in. Score prediction 16-13 Raiders. Let's go.
There you go.
I think we're going to pass
Last
20
but not
points this
least,
game.
all right. So last but not least, Big Dash knows. Give your thoughts and where can I find out the social media?
Yeah, Raph, you messed up. You let a Giants fan go last, Raph. You messed up. Nah. Nah, it's Big Dash knows on all social media platforms except for Facebook. As far as the game goes, I think the New York Giants need this game more than the Raiders need this game. Even though y'all guys have a whole new vibe in the building, I got the New York Giants winning 17-10. And yeah, that's my prediction. And shout out to everybody here. I'm gonna go ahead and follow all you guys.
Yeah,
Raph,
likewise.
send me all the ats up. That way I can follow these gentlemen.
All right.
Likewise.
So it's been like an amazing episode because this is the first part of the double episode. We've been giving thoughts about for the Raiders Giants. Thank you, RealMen Raiders, Big Tech Knows, and West Coast Pirates. My name is Rafael Chacín, as known as El Capitán Rafucho. You
everybody.
can follow me
El
on
Capitan.
social media at Capitán Rafucho, and you can subscribe me on YouTube, Rafael Chacín, and it's been like a great episode of Raiders versus Giants, and I will see you there at 9 p.m., which is we had another special guest. So right now, it is time to say for the Raider Nation, no matter we lose or we just win, because Raiders win or lose, Raider Nation till I die. And of
Yeah.
course, sorry, not sorry, Giant fans, but this is gonna be like a really interesting game for the Raiders. So Raiders get the W
I-
against the Giants.
I'll see you after the game, Raph.
Have a good one,
All right,
fellas.
all right.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, man.
right.
Appreciate it.
Have
Later.
a good one,
All right,
folks.
guys.
And of course, peace out. And of course, have a great Thursday night. Have a good one, folks.
Later, brother.
Later.